Welcome to From the South, teleSUR English's daily news show. I'm Regan Levines. We begin in Brazil, where the Workers' Party is set to choose the former President Lula da Silva as its presidential candidate at a congress which begins this Thursday. Lula has played a prominent role in recent protests against the government of President Michel Temer. That's in spite of a series of court cases against him, which he and his supporters say have been fabricated to prevent him standing in 2018. Most polls put Lula in the lead to win a presidential election. And after a surprise vote on Wednesday, Brazil could face a presidential election much sooner than 2018. A committee of the Brazilian Senate unanimously passed a proposed constitutional amendment to allow for direct presidential elections if President Michel Temer stands down. Polls indicate that 90% of Brazilians favor this solution to Brazil's current crisis. The Constitution currently says a new president would be elected indirectly by the Congress. The amendment now has to go to the full Senate.
I hope the full Senate will immediately move to debate this proposal to amend the Constitution, because if the Constitutional and Justice Committee, which includes both government and opposition senators, pass this unanimously, that means the whole Congress wants to vote on this. So let's vote in the plenary as soon as possible, so that this can go on to the lower house.
The Venezuelan government has expressed its thanks to Caribbean neighbors that helped block a move against the Bolivarian government in the Organization of American States. Wednesday's meeting of the OAS failed to agree on either of two counterposed resolutions. The meeting had been called without Venezuela's agreement to discuss a proposal from Mexico, the United States and other countries demanding that Caracas suspend its plans for a constitutional assembly, release so-called political prisoners and set a date for presidential elections. The Caribbean countries of CARICOM presented an alternative, rejecting interference in Venezuela's affairs and urging dialogue.
This meeting of consultation, recognizing the draft declarations before it, are capable of reconciliation, but the time is required to achieve that objective. Agree to instruct the permanent representatives at the OAS to continue to engage on a declaration in respect of which this 29th meeting of consultation of ministers of foreign affairs will reconvene at a time to be agreed prior to the General Assembly in Cancun, Mexico.
The violent people who are doing all they can to spread hatred, intolerance, and more violence in Venezuela must be frustrated that the OAS did not give them the support they were hoping for. The wishes of Almagro, of Borges, and the people of violence have again been frustrated, and they were defeated by the dignified position adopted by CARICOM and ALBA.
Demonstrators clashed with police in Santiago during a student-led march for better education reform. The protest was led by the Chilean Students' Union against the closure of the Alcis University, as well as to reject reform bills being discussed in Congress. Meanwhile, President Michelle Bachelet delivered the last annual State of the Union address of return at the National Congress building. The next presidential election is scheduled for November 19th. Colombian teachers took to the streets once again on Wednesday after negotiations with the government over working conditions have seen no progress. The teachers have been on a 20-day strike so far and have had 0 days of talk. The teachers are asking for the government to increase investment in education, adjust the structure for raising salaries, and provide more comprehensive health insurance. An appeals court in Argentina is reviewing the prison sentence imposed on the indigenous leader and Member of Parliament Milagros Sala. Sala has thus far spent 500 days in jail, and social movements have been campaigning for her release. She was accused of organizing public disturbances in 2009 against the right-wing governor of Jujuy province in the north of Argentina. Pakistan has rejected allegations that it was behind a deadly truck bomb which killed at least 80 people on Wednesday. A government spokesman stated that the allegations made by the Afghan government were baseless. The truck bomb wounded hundreds of people during the rush hour morning attack in the Afghan capital, Kabul. There has been no claim of responsibility for the attack thus far. And finally, youth musicians of one of Rio de Janeiro's most violent slums will play in a concert in front of the Pope on Saturday. The orchestra of Tomorrow's Mares, named after a favela slum, was supposed to perform for the Pope back in July 2013, but was unable to due to heavy rain. Saturday's concert will be a dream come true for these young Brazilian musicians. There is more on these and other stories on our website, telesurtv.net/English. For Tales with English, I'm Regan Devines.